Too many in ancient Rome. He was the emperor that should have been a figure of such immense popularity and promise that his early death plunged the empire into mourning. His name was Germanicus Julius Caesar, one of the most celebrated generals in the history of the Roman Empire, a man whose story is a captivating blend of military triumph, political intrigue, and ultimately, tragedy. Born in 15 BC, Germanicus was destined for greatness from the very beginning. His father was Nero Claudius Drusus, a brilliant general and the stepson of the first Roman Emperor Augustus. His mother was Antonia, the younger, the daughter of Mark Antony. This lineage placed him right at the heart of the Julio-Claudian dynasty, the family that ruled Rome during its transition from republic to empire. From a young age, Germanicus was groomed for a future in leadership. He received a first-class education, excelling in rhetoric and literature, but it was in the military arts that he truly shone. Augustus himself saw the young man's potential and, in a strategic move to secure the future of the dynasty, had his successor Tiberius adopt Germanicus as his own son and heir. This decision effectively put Germanicus in the direct line of succession right after Tiberius. His early military career was promising. He served under Tiberius in Pannonia and Dalmatia, gaining valuable experience and proving his competence on the battlefield. But it was his command in Germania that would cement his legend. In 14 AD, the very year that Augustus died and Tiberius became emperor, a massive mutiny broke out among the legions stationed on the Rhine. The soldiers were angry over their long years of service and poor pay, and the situation was explosive. Germanicus was sent to quell the rebellion. He arrived to find a chaotic and dangerous scene. The legions were on the brink of civil war. In a moment of high drama, the soldiers even offered to make him emperor on the spot, an act of treason against Tiberius. Germanicus, loyal to his adoptive father and the state, flatly refused. He understood that seizing power through a military coup would tear the empire apart. Instead, he used a combination of powerful oratory, personal courage, and clever tactics to bring the mutinous soldiers back into line. He appealed to their sense of honor and duty, and when words weren't enough, he used a dramatic high-stakes gamble. He threatened to take his own life rather than see the legions destroy themselves. A gesture that shocked the soldiers into submission. In another famous incident, he sent his beloved wife Agrippina the Elder and their young son, the future Emperor Caligula, away from the camp for their safety. The sight of their general's family fleeing moved the soldiers to shame, and they turned on the ringleaders of the mutiny themselves. With the legion's loyalty restored, Germanicus turned their energy towards a common enemy, the Germanic tribes across the Rhine. These were the same tribes that had annihilated 3 Roman legions in the Teutoburg Forest just a few years earlier, a devastating defeat that had haunted Rome. Germanicus was determined to avenge this loss and restore Roman honor. Over the next 2 years, from 14 to 16 AD, he led a series of brilliant campaigns deep into enemy territory. He marched his armies through dense forests and treacherous swamps, seeking out the Germanic chieftain Arminius, the mastermind behind the Teutoburg disaster. His campaigns were marked by both daring raids and large-scale battles. One of his most significant achievements was the recovery of two of the three lost legionary eagles, the sacred standards that were a symbol of Roman military pride. He found the site of the Teutoburg Forest massacre and gave the fallen Roman soldiers a proper burial, a deeply symbolic act that resonated throughout the empire. He engaged Arminius's forces in major battles like the Battle of the Weser River, inflicting heavy casualties and proving that Roman legions could indeed operate and win deep within Germania. His victories made him a hero. Back in Rome, his exploits were celebrated with wild enthusiasm. He was the golden boy of the empire, handsome, charismatic, and a proven winner. His popularity rivaled, and perhaps even surpassed, that of the Emperor Tiberius himself, who was known for his gloomy and reserved nature. And this is where the political intrigue begins. Tiberius, perhaps growing wary of his adopted son's immense popularity and influence with the army, recalled Germanicus from Germania in 1780. Officially, it was to celebrate a magnificent triumph in Rome for his victories. The celebration was one of the most splendid Rome had ever seen, with Germanicus parading captured Germanic chieftains and the recovered eagles through the streets. The people adored him. But the triumph was also the end of his German command. Instead of sending him back to finish the job against Arminius, Tiberius gave him a new grand mission in the eastern provinces of the empire. He was granted maius imperium, or supreme command, over all other governors and generals in the east. On the surface, it was a prestigious appointment. But many historians, both ancient and modern, believe it was a way for Tiberius to move Germanicus away from his loyal legions on the Rhine. In the east, Germanicus settled affairs in Cappadocia and Comagene, turning them into Roman provinces. He traveled to Egypt, a move that angered Tiberius as it was a province under the emperor's direct personal control. But it was his relationship with the governor of Syria, Gnaeus Calpurnius Piso, that would prove fatal. Piso was a man known for his arrogance and was a close confidant of Tiberius. From the moment Germanicus arrived, the two men clashed. Piso openly defied Germanicus's orders and seemed to do everything in his power to undermine his authority. Their feud became public and bitter. Then, in 19 AD, after returning from Egypt, Germanicus fell mysteriously ill in Antioch. His condition rapidly worsened. As he lay on his deathbed, he became convinced that he had been poisoned by Piso and his wife Plancina. He made his friends swear an oath to avenge his death. At the young age of 33, the great hope of Rome, Germanicus, died. The news of his death sparked an unprecedented wave of public grief across the empire. Businesses closed, temples were shut, and people mourned as if they had lost a member of their own family. His ashes were brought back to Rome, and the procession was met by weeping crowds all along the way. The suspicion of foul play was immediate and widespread. The prime suspect was Piso. He was put on trial in the Senate, accused not only of poisoning Germanicus, but also of treason for defying his command. The trial was a sensation, capturing the attention of all of Rome, while the charge of poisoning was difficult to prove. The evidence of his insubordination was overwhelming. Facing a certain conviction for treason, Piso took his own life before the verdict could be delivered. But was Piso acting alone, or was he a pawn in a larger game? The shadow of suspicion fell upon the Emperor Tiberius himself. Did the old paranoid emperor order the death of his popular charismatic heir to secure his own power and clear the way for his biological son, Drusus the Younger? The ancient historian Tacitus masterfully lays out the case, hinting strongly at Tiberius's complicity, though he never outright states it. We will likely never know the full truth. The mystery of Germanicus's death remains one of Rome's great unsolved historical whodunits. Germanicus's legacy is immense. He was a brilliant general who restored Roman pride after one of its darkest military defeats. He was a charismatic leader who commanded the love of his soldiers and the adoration of the Roman people. His bloodline continued through his son Caligula and his grandson Nero, though they would prove to be two of Rome's most infamous emperors. He represents a tantalizing what if in Roman history. What if he had lived? Would his reign have been a golden age, a continuation of the stability of Augustus? Or would the corrupting nature of absolute power have changed him as it did so many others?